Hello, homeschool friends. This is Sabrina Justison from 7sistershomeschool.com, and we are going to take about 10 minutes this morning, and we're going to talk about research paper writing help for high school homeschoolers who are reluctant writers. Reluctant writers is a very nice way to say these are the kids who go, I can't write a research paper. I just can't. And they feel like they're going to just die if someone assigns them this task. So there is hope, and I have some real practical strategies for you. I also have a freebie to point you toward. If you have a reluctant writer in your homeschool high school, there's help to be found. So if you're here, type a comment in so I can say hello to you and see that you're there. And we're going to dive in for about 10 minutes. All right, on go the reading glasses. So, why are some kids such reluctant writers, particularly when it comes to research writing? And there are lots and lots of reasons. There are as many reasons as there are kids. But a lot of kids lack confidence. They just don't feel like they have the natural wiring to be a good research writer. And we want to build that confidence in them. And giving them success in small chunks is the best way to do that. If they can see that they actually are mastering this skill set, then they're going to feel more confident in future years. Some kids just don't have a lot of experience. Some are really disorganized with their thoughts, and so they look at a research project which is big and complicated, and they think, I don't even know how to attack it. And then you have kids who just have straight up what we call white page paralysis. They look at a blank sheet of paper and they say, ugh, I have to start somewhere, and they just can't get started. So those are four of the most common reasons that teens are reluctant writers. There could be lots of other reasons. Whatever the reason, what we're going to offer you this morning is a strategy for getting that kid unstuck and started on the research writing adventure in high school. And this is not something that you can do every year of high school, okay? Research papers have to be written in high school. It is important for part of the language arts credit that they are building on their transcript. And you can't do this approach every year, but this is a great approach for a 9th grader who is just frozen. Or as a way to add in perhaps an extra assignment early in the year for a 10th grader who's struggling to sort of get their feet under them so that later in the year they could write an APA style, a Chicago style, an MLA style, the kinds of things that we really have to see for that credit on the high school transcript. Okay, so quickly, let's make sure we're all clear on the difference between a report and a research paper. In elementary school and in middle school, we write lots of reports, and a report is there to inform. Okay, this is to show that the student has read and studied and learned something about a topic and is able to articulate some of that back. We get to research papers, and now we're a step beyond that. This is that you've researched the topic, come to understand it, and have formed your own reactions, opinions, ideas based on what you've learned. So the research paper is taking that information and now is convincing the reader of something intelligent, logical, and supported. That is a lot of thinking for a teen to do, and it's not surprising that some of our kids are intimidated by it. The APA style paper is more like a report than most research papers are. However, even with the APA, it is not merely a matter of, I read these books, I studied this subject, and now I'm going to tell you about it. It's, I've read these books, studied this subject, I'm going to tell you about it, and then I'm going to point you in a direction that I think this information should point everyone. It's a logical way to look at why these results matter, what these conclusions seem to indicate. So there's that extra level of thinking that goes beyond just telling you the facts of what they've learned about. If you have a student who is a reluctant writer, a wonderful remedial project to start with is summed up in a free white paper guide that Vicki Tillman put together, and you can find that at 7sistershomeschool.com if you go into the ebook store and then scroll down to the freebies section. You'll find it in there. You can also, I think, click on the research writing category and you'll find it there. So you can download that for free. I'm going to briefly go over what's in that, but don't worry about trying to take notes. Just go download the freebie and then you've got it all there for you. So one of the first things that you want to do with the reluctant writer is allow them to choose a topic about which they are truly interested. There is nothing worse for a reluctant writer than having to write a 5-page paper and having to do it on a subject that they feel like they know nothing about, that they've just begun learning about, that they think is really kind of boring. Let them choose a topic. Then start with breaking that topic into 4 logical categories. Just about any subject can be fairly easily thought through. Okay, well, let's see, there's this and this. Let's say you have a kid who's interested in space. So they could break it into, okay, there's planets, and there's stars, and there's things that move through the sky, comets and things like that, and there's our solar system. That's 4 subtopics within a topic. If you've got a kid who loves animals and they want to write about dogs, then have them write about hunting dogs and have them write about show dogs. And you see what I mean? Just take the subject and have your student break it into 4 logical subtopics. The goal of this is to write a 5-page paper. So if you've got your topic and you break it into 4 subtopics, you're going to have a page for each subtopic. And then you're going to have your 5th page, which will be made up of your introductory material, your concluding material, and your bibliography and references. Once you have that broken into 4 topics, then you want them to get a book out of the library or from a bookstore, and you want them to read that book, and it needs to be something readable, something that they enjoy and not something too overwhelming. And as they read, summarize each chapter and give them old-fashioned index cards and a pen, and have them write the chapter number and a summary on the card, and then some quote from that chapter that they found to be interesting and that they felt like gave them a piece of information that they would like to share in their paper. So 1 index card per chapter with a summary written on it and a quote. The reason that we suggest that you do this by hand and not typing is because plagiarism is a huge problem for young writers. And it is easier to plagiarize without even meaning to, just by sort of accidentally losing which part of this is my words and which isn't, and which is information I really understand versus something I just read and I'm trying to spit back, okay? If you have to handwrite a summary of the material that you've read, you are much more likely to truly own that in your own brain, to hold on to it, to learn it and absorb it, so that then when you write about it later, you will be writing using your own thoughts and your own words, and you'll avoid plagiarism. By the way, for more on plagiarism, you can look on the Seven Sisters YouTube channel, or you can go to the sevensistershomeschool.com website, and in the blog, just search for plagiarism. And there's a video that will come up where I will help you understand more about plagiarism and how to help your teens avoid it. Then you go from the book to internet sources. 4 internet sources. Teach them how to find a reputable internet resource. And there's information on the blog at Seven Sisters for helping you do that as well. And again, they're creating an index card for each website from which they read and learn information and then quote something. And once you have all of those index cards together, you're ready to outline your paper. And if this is a kid who has not been successful with outlining in the past, start with a graphic organizer. Vicki Tillman's Pinterest boards, she has a bunch of great links to graphic organizers that you can look for. Kids process information differently, and laying it out on a paper in different ways may be helpful to one kid versus another. From that graphic organizer, they will then be able to create an outline that will make sense. And then you write the paper, and you're doing a page for each subtopic, right? And then you're doing a intro that has a grabber, something that gets you right in there, and then sort of a preview of what this paper is going to be about. And then you go to your conclusion, and you've got your summary of what this paper was about, and then your opinion or your call to action, or your, this is what I really think my reader should take away from this paper because this is important. And then you create your bibliography, your list of references. And for a remedial assignment like this, not one that is a standard high school research writing assignment, but this is to help remedy a problem in a kid who's really struggling, okay? In that case, doesn't really matter what citation style you use within the paper and exactly what style you use for your reference page, as long as you choose one style and you stick with it. Keep it consistent. And then when they're ready to step out and do an MLA style paper the next year, they can do that according to the instructions for MLA citation and references, or an APA, or a Chicago style. So for all of this, you want to come to sevensistershomeschool.com, go to the ebook store, scroll down to the freebies section, and download Vicki Tillman's little guide for a remedial assignment to help reluctant writers with research writing. You also do not want to fail to sign up for the Seven Sisters email list. We don't spam you ever, but we do send out stuff like we're doing here on Facebook Live. Very practical helps for different issues that come up in homeschool high schooling. And we try to just share what we picked up in the last 20 plus years that we homeschooled all of our kids. And we just want to encourage you. So sign up for the Seven Sisters email list. And if you look in the comments below this, in just a moment, I will put a link to the blog post that outlines this whole Reluctant Writer research paper guide, and also has a place where you can subscribe to our email list. So hopefully that was helpful. We will be doing these little 10-minute, 15-minute Facebook Lives every Wednesday at 8:45 in the morning for at least the month of July. We're going to try out that time slot and see how it works. And we hope it will be a help to you. So until next time, see ya.